guys, I'm going to try to read a few more chapters. We're going to come so close to finishing Crenshaw. Down below in the notes section of the video, you're going to see two links. One is to the ebook at our county library, and the other is to the audiobook, which is downloadable again at the county library, and you guys, with the help of your parents or family members, can access that and you can listen to the rest of the book at home. I highly recommend that. Also, when we go back, Mrs. Perez, as I mentioned in the other video, has a copy on your shelf. So let's go. Chapter 36. I've never stolen anything before last spring, except for the unfortunate incident with a yo-yo when I was 5 and used very bad judgment. It was a surprise how good I was at it. It's like when you discover you have an unusual talent, being able to lick your elbow, for instance, or wiggle your ears. I felt like a magician. Now you see it, now you don't. Watch Magic Jackson make the quarter appear from behind your ear. Watch this bubble gum disappear before your eyes. Gum is harder than you think. It's the perfect size for slipping into your pocket, but it's usually right next to the place where you pay. So it's easier for a clerk to see that you're up to no good. I'd only shoplifted 4 times, twice to get food for Robin, and once to get gum for me, and now the dog cookie. I got my start with jars of baby food. Even though she was 5, Robin liked eating it sometimes. The stinky meat kind, not even the fruit goo. Don't ask me why, I will never understand that girl. We stopped at a Safeway grocery store because Robin had to go to the bathroom. She wanted to get something to eat, but my mom said, wait till later. While they went to find the restroom, I wandered down the aisles to kill time, and then I saw the Gerber baby food. I slipped 2 jars of chicken and rice into my pocket, smooth and easy as can be. Nobody seemed to notice, probably because who would think a kid my age would steal something that looked like brown snot? In the next aisle, I passed a guy from my school with his dad, Paul something. He was pushing their shopping cart. They had a giant snack pack of barbecue potato chips and those lemonade drinks in the little boxes with a giant bag of red apples. I waved very casually in a, it's not like I'm showing bad judgment or anything kind of wave. Paul waved back. I walked right out the door with Robin and my mom. No sweat, no lightning came down to zap me, no police cars zoomed in with sirens howling like coyotes. Later at home, I pretended to find the jars in the back of the cupboard. My mom was real happy, and so was Robin. I was amazed how easy it was to lie. It was like turning on a faucet. The words just rushed right out. I felt guilty for not feeling guilty. I mean, I'd shoplifted, I'd taken something that didn't belong to me, I was a criminal. But I told myself that in nature, it's survival of the fittest. Eat or be eaten, kill or be killed. They say those things a lot in nature films, right after the lion eats the zebra. Of course, I wasn't a lion. I was a person who knew right from wrong, and stealing was wrong. But here's the truth. I felt crummy about the stealing, but I felt even worse about the lying. If you like facts the way I do, try lying sometime. It'll surprise you how hard it is to do. Still and all, even after I felt lousy, I had fixed a problem. Robin gobbled down the chicken and rice goo so fast that she threw up most of it on my book about cheetahs. I figured maybe that was my punishment. Chapter 37. When we got home from the pet store, I went to my room, half expecting to see Crenshaw lounging on my bed. Instead, I found Aretha. Her nose was buried in my keepsake's bag, and she had a guilty expression on her face. She, for sure, had something in her mouth, but I couldn't see what it was. Show me, I said. I pulled the stolen dog cookie from my pocket. It was a little mushed on one side. I held it out so Aretha would drop whatever was in her mouth and snatch the cookie, but she wasn't interested. Probably she didn't want to eat stolen goods. Aretha slunk toward my bedroom door, tail dragging, and I saw what she was holding. It was the clay statue I'd made of Crenshaw, clutched between her teeth. You don't want that thing, I said, but she seemed to disagree. As soon as she was out of my bedroom, she galloped down the hall and scratched urgently at the front door. Want me to open it, baby? Robin asked. She turned the knob and Aretha rocketed outside. Aretha, stop, I yelled. Usually she waited by the door for me, flopping her tail, hopefully. Not today. I grabbed her leash. She was heading straight for Marisol's house, which was about half a block down the street. Aretha loved Marisol. She also loved Marisol's 7 cats, who enjoyed sunbathing on the screened-in back porch. I found Aretha in Marisol's old sandbox. Marisol didn't use it anymore, but Aretha loved it. She was always digging a hole. Sand fanned skyward like sprinkler spray. Aretha was an expert digger. She buried 2 water bowls, a TV remote, a pizza box, a Ziploc bag full of Legos, 3 Frisbees, and 2 of my homework folders there. Not that my teachers had believed me. Marisol was wearing flip-flops in her pajamas, which had snoring sheep on them. She loved pajamas. In 1st grade, she wore them to school every day until the principal told her she was setting a bad example. In her left hand, Marisol had a large straw. Her hair was covered with sawdust. She almost always smelled like fresh-cut wood. Marisol loved to build things, especially things for animals and birds and reptiles. She made bird houses and bat shelters, dog carriers and cat trees, hamster habitats and ferret habitats. At the end of her fenced in yard were planks, a sawhorse, and a big circular saw. A small house-looking thing was on the ground, half built. It was for one of her cats. Hey, I said. Hey, she said. You ready for the yard sale? I guess. Aretha brought me that, Marisol said. She pointed to my Crenshaw statue, which was sitting on the picnic table. Dropped it right by my feet. I made it when I was little, I said, with a shrug. It's lame. If you made it, it's not lame, Marisol said. She put down her saw and examined the statue. Aretha stopped digging and looked up at us hopefully. Her face was covered in sand, her tongue lolled sideways. It's a cat, Marisol said, brushing off a piece of grass stuck to the bottom. A standing cat with a baseball cap. I like it. I like it very much. I shrugged, hands in my pockets. Was this for the yard sale, Marisol said. How much is it? It's not for the yard sale. Aretha got into my bag of stuff, is all. I have $3 for that. I laughed. It's just, a hunk of clay, some school project. I like it. It's intriguing. Marisol reached for her pajama pocket. She handed me a wad of money that looked like it had been through the laundry. Keep it, I said. Think of it as a going away present. Her eyes went wide. What are you talking about, Jackson? You're not... I waved a hand. No, it's probably nothing. My parents are just being their usual weird self. It wasn't the truth, not completely, but it wasn't not the truth. You better not move. I missed you too much. Who would help me with C-Spot Walk? And anyway, I love your weird parent. I didn't respond. We've got the dachshunds tomorrow, Marisol said. Yep. I pointed to the miniature zigzag staircase she was building. Where's that going? Antonia's old room. When he heads off to college this fall, or maybe Lewis's. His room is full of boxes. You're like an only child, I said. It's kind of boring, Marisol said, pushing a strand of hair behind her ear. There's no one to fight with. It's too quiet. Sounds nice. I like your apartment. There's always something going on. Sometimes it's just me and Paula for days on end. She rolled her eyes. Marisol's dad was a salesman and her mom was a pilot. They traveled a lot, so Paula, an older woman, often stayed with Marisol. Marisol refused to call her a nanny or babysitter or caregiver. She was just Paula. Marisol grabbed a tape measure to check the height of the staircase she was making. I'm going to attach this staircase to the wall, see? Like so. And then put shelves way up high for the cats to climb to. It'll be like cat paradise. Speaking of cats, I bent down to fill in the hole that Aretha had made. The sand was soft and dry. Did I ever tell you? I hesitated and pushed on. Did I ever tell you that I had an imaginary friend when I was little? Really? Me too. Her name was Whoops. She had red hair and was extremely naughty. I blamed her for everything. Who was yours? He was a cat, a big cat. I don't remember much about him. You should never forget your imaginary friend. How come? What if you need him someday? Marisol reached for a piece of wood. I remember everything about Whoops. She liked to eat Brussels sprouts. Why? I pretended to gag. Probably because I like Brussels sprouts. You never told me that. I may have to reconsider our friendship because of Whoops or the Brussels sprouts. She yanked a nail out of the plank with her hammer. Hey, new bat fact. In Austin, Texas, they have the world's largest urban bat colony. Like 1.5 million. When they fly out at night, you can see them on the airport radar system. Very cool, I said. Miss Malone would love seeing that. Marisol and I both had Miss Malone for 4th grade. She taught all subjects, but she loved science, best of all biology, especially. We chatted about the bats while we watched Aretha dig another hole. Finally, I said, well, gotta go. I hooked Aretha to the leash. She licked my cheek with a sand-covered tongue. It felt like a cat. Did Whoops ever, I made myself ask the question, did she ever come back after you outgrew her? Marisol didn't answer right away. Sometimes she just let a question sit for a while. Like she needed some time to get acquainted with it. I wish she would come back, Marisol said, gazing at me. I think you'd like her. I nodded. Yeah, I guess I could overlook the Brussels sprouts thing. Jackson? Yeah. You're not really moving, are you? I studied her question the way she studied mine. Probably not, I said, because it was easy, and easy was all I could manage. Aretha and I were almost to the front yard when Marisol called, it needs a name. You mean the statue? Yeah, something unique. What do you want its name to be, I asked. She didn't answer right away. She took her time. Finally, she said, Crenshaw would be a real good name for a cat. I think, chapter 38, I crossed the street. Twice, I looked back. Marisol waved. Crenshaw. It must have been written on the bottom of the statue by my teacher, my mom, or me. There's always a logical explanation, I told myself, always. Chapter 39. That night, I sat on my mattress, staring at what was left of my bedroom. My old bed, shaped like a red race car, the one I'd outgrown ages ago, was in pieces. A sticker on the headboard said $25 or best offer. Dents in the carpeting hint at where it used to be. A cube where my nightstand should have been. A rectangle where my dresser once stood. My mom and dad came in after Robin was asleep. How you doing, bud? My dad asked. Definitely roomier, huh? It's like camping out, I said. Without the mosquitoes, said my mom. She handed me a plastic mug of water. I kept it by my bed in case I got thirsty in the middle of the night. She'd been doing that for as long as I could remember. The mug, which had a faded picture of Thomas the Tank Engine on it, was probably nearly as old as I was. My dad touched the mattress with his cane. Next bed, let's make it more serious. Not a race car, Mom nodded. Maybe a Volvo, said Dad. How about just a bed? I asked. Absolutely, my mom leaned over and combed her fingers through my hair. A bed. We'll probably make some bucks at the sale, Dad said. So there's that. They're just things, my mom said quietly. We can always get new. It's okay. I like the space, I said. I think Aretha does too, and Robin can practice batting without knocking anything over. Both my parents smiled. For a few moments, neither spoke. All right, we're out of here, my mom finally said. As he turned to leave, my dad said, you know, you're such a big help, Jackson. You never complain. You're always ready to pitch in. We really appreciate that. My mom blew me a kiss. He's pretty amazing. She agreed. She winked at my dad. Let's keep him around. They closed the door. I had one lamp left. Its light carved a yellow frown on my carpet. I closed my eyes. I imagined our things spread out on the lawn tomorrow. My mom was right, of course. They were just things, bits of plastic and wood and cardboard and steel, bunches of atoms. I knew all too well that there were people in the world who didn't have Monopoly games or race car beds. I had a roof over my head. I had food most of the time. I had clothes and blankets and a dog and a family. Still, I felt twisted inside, like I'd swallowed a knotted up rope. It wasn't about losing my stuff. Well, okay, maybe that was just a part of it. It wasn't about feeling different from other kids. Well, okay, maybe that was part of it too. What bothered me most, though, was that I couldn't fix anything. I couldn't control anything. It was like driving a bumper car without a steering wheel. I kept getting slammed, and I just had to sit there and hold on tight. Bam, we were going to have enough to eat tomorrow. Were we going to have enough to eat tomorrow? Bam, were we going to be able to pay the rent? Bam, would I be able to go to the same school in the fall? Bam, would it happen again? I took deep breaths, in, out. My fists clenched and unclenched. I tried not to think about CRENSHAW on the TV or the dog cookie I'd stolen. Then, just the way I'd taken that cookie, without understanding why, without thinking about the consequences, without any reason, I grabbed my mug and hurled it against the wall. Bam, it splintered into shards of cracked plastic. I liked the noise it made. I waited for my parents to return to ask what's wrong, to yell at me for breaking something, but no one came. Water trickled down the wall, slowly fading like an old map or a faraway river. Chapter 40. I woke in the middle of the night, sweaty and startled. I'd been having a dream, something about a giant talking cat with a bubble beard. Oh. Aretha, who likes to share my pillow when she can get away with it, was drooling onto the pillowcase. Her feet were dream twitching. I wonder if she was dreaming about CRENSHAW. She certainly seemed to like him. Wait, I felt my brain screech to a halt like a cartoon character about to careen off a cliff. Aretha had seen CRENSHAW. At least she'd reacted to him. She tried to lick him. She tried to play with him. She seemed to know he was there. Dogs have amazing senses. They can tell when a person is about to have a seizure. They can hear sounds when we hear only silence. They can unearth a piece of hot dog buried at the bottom of a neighbor's trash can. But however amazing dogs can be, they cannot see somebody's imaginary friend. They cannot jump into their owner's brain. So did that mean CRENSHAW was real? Or was Aretha just responding to my body language? Could she tell I was freaking out? Or did she figure I'd come up with a brand new game called Let's Play with a Giant Invisible Cat? I tried to recall how she'd acted back when we were living in our minivan. Had she sensed CRENSHAW's presence then? I couldn't remember. I didn't want to remember. I covered my face with my drooly pillow and tried to go back to sleep. And I'm going to stop there. Half-Acre Hawks. That's chapter 41 would be the next chapter. There are 52 chapters total. So we're almost at the very end. And like I said, there's links below where you guys can download an ebook or the audiobook. If you have a phone, a tablet, a laptop, or a computer, you can do that through Washoe County Library. It's been so much fun reading this with you. I wish I could finish the last little bit, but hey, that's suspense, and maybe that'll allow you to pick up the book. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of the year.